Morning, Scott McDonald, Fire Behavior Teammate. I'll cover a little bit of the weather. We're moving back into what is considered a seasonal pattern. There's an upper level trough that's starting to move through the region, basically. So we're starting to see more onshore flow. Clouds, green layers influencing us. We're seeing a lot more of the clouds that come up and bank up against Cascades are really heavily influenced across Washington right now. And because of that, our temps are dropping back down into the 50s and 60s during the daylight hours, and RHs are coming up. That's relative humidity. That starts affecting the fuels out there, starts to put more moisture in them, and therefore the fire doesn't want to move as much. And then regionally, this is the service area, Northwest 01. We're in what they call green, which is limited to less than 1% chance of large fires at this point, based on weather and fuel moderation. So that's kind of the big change there. Fire behavior on this particular incident is being basically smoldering, backing down the hill. We're seeing a little bit of torching out there. That's pretty common for this kind of fuels. It takes a while for it to react to the weather, just because the canopy closure, heavy fuels are driving this a little bit. But the terrain is the big influencer. Winds really struggle to get down into the canopy, and we've got light winds right now, 3 to 6 mile an hour winds, which once you get into the canopy, it's like 0 to 1. You don't even hardly feel it. So terrain is going to influence this a lot. Over the last 48 hours from this original spot up here, this one moved down slope, so it's probably roll out. And I'm just using this as an example. This one moved up the slope just following the steep terrain, following the fuels. And that's what's going to happen on here. This is backing, a lot of smoldering, some smoke production. There'll be areas where it'll roll out a little bit and see if the roller kind of shoot back up the hill a little bit, not super fast. If you get some torching, people might see some flame, will increase the smoke production. But for the most part, just backing off the hill very slowly where we can deal with it versus what happened a few days ago. Big one. Any questions?
Thank you, Scott. Operations, Dave Robertson.
Good morning, everybody. Dave Robertson. So last night we ran a shift of 3 strike teams of engines and a division supervisor out there. We did find some opportunities down along Highway 2 between Grotto and the tunnel, and a little bit on the other side of the tunnel to bring some fire down to the road, keep the fire checked up on the road. There's just very little lighting. We're not going and doing big burnouts. It's not what we're doing. Just a little bit of fire to help bring it down to the road where we can stop it, get the engines up to it, put a stop to it. So we did a little bit of that last night. It was all successful. Today they're going out to verify that stayed where it has, and I don't think we're having issues because they cut off their lighting pretty early so that they had time for burnout. There shouldn't be any other embers coming across the road. So today, out in Division Alpha, what we're looking at is a primary line on the 6510. It's a forest road that comes up to the north from Highway 2. Looking at that as a primary line. The fire so far is checked up on that road. It has not moved past it, so we're going to go see if we can do some more work on it, get that set up to hold. At the same time, we're also looking down at the Beckler River Road to eventually have that as a contingency line if something goes really haywire. Same thing with that, minimal work down in the riparian area. We don't expect any fire to move through that based on the weather that we've got coming in, the behavior that we've seen. But we are going to prep that, a light prep on that to get it ready in case something changes. Moving down to Division Alpha, or moving from Division Alpha towards into Papa, we did find a road. There's a power line road, the 510 spur that's up off the highway corridor. We're looking at that, see if we can get some prep done on that to make that a primary line to hold the fire up from coming down and closer to the town of Skycone. We should know by the end of today if that's going to be a viable line, but from everything we've seen from yesterday and what we heard from last night, that's probably where we're going to try to hold the fire up above Skycone. Then moving down along the highway, all the structures all through here of all the structure protection has been completed. And completed to a level where it's not something where we were leaving sprinkler systems and pumps and that kind of stuff to fire and go. We're leaving it in a state that with the fire moving the way it is, that we'll have resources there to meet the fire and deal with it as it comes down and around the structure. That might include maybe some light burning, depending on the conditions that they're experiencing at the time. But for the most part, what we've seen is just allowing the fire to come down to the line, the crews get in there, we work it, smash it, bump onto the next house that we have. So that's a lot of what's going to be going on in Division Papa and Sierra. Biggest problem in Papa is the tunnel. We've had a lot of problems with that tunnel that caught on fire yesterday. We started throwing a bunch of stuff down onto the highway. We did smash it yesterday with one of the Blackhawks, which seems to have worked as far as slowing down any other spread of that fire as far as throwing spots out towards the river or down. We also washed off most of the stuff that was rolling out to reduce the amount of stuff coming down. We were having to clean the highway every hour or so with a loader to get that in the condition so it's drivable. So, like I said, moving all the way out to Sierra, the same thing. We're just verifying all the structure protection is done. We've got resources spread out to meet the fire as it comes down to those lines. We are looking for other opportunities to try to get up closer and tighter, but with the steepness, with the fire reactivity, we're not seeing, and the values at risk and the threat to those values at the moment, we're not seeing a need to put firefighters into that dangerous position. So we're going to have the fire come down and meet us where we have a better chance. Moving over to Tango, we're looking at the 6022 road. Some of you guys might know where that is. It comes off Highway 2 and it connects up to the Index Galena Road. We're looking at that as a control feature, as our primary line to keep any fire from coming anywhere close to the town of Index. Our division soup that was out there yesterday said it looked like it's not the greatest option, but it's the best option we've got, but it's something that we can work on. So we've got masticators going up, start brushing that road out, daylight it, get all our stuff in position so that we can, if we have to, meet that fire or worst case scenario, fire off. But like I said, conditions that we're experiencing, we're not planning on having any of that kind of stuff. We're not going to do anything big and fancy with burnouts. Okay. And with that, the division soup is looking at then brushing, doing a little light brushing work on the Index Galena Road, same thing as a potential holding feature, but we're hoping that seasonality, the way this fire is burning, probably won't get, we're getting prepared. On the top or the north end of the fire branch, or call it branch 2 out in the wilderness, you guys all know we're not taking any action on that. So there is no structures at risk, there's no values at risk. The forest is okay with fire naturally taking control of the forest. So we're going to keep firefighters out of that and keep putting people into that situation. That's about all I've got for today, unless there's any questions. All right.
So for the folks on Teams, we apologize. We need to switch the camera out so the camera's there. Hopefully you were able to have good audio. What Dave was talking about as he was kind of walking around that map. See what hard work is doing, good work is doing. So again, I apologize. We should have a new camera up ready to go here in less than about 10 seconds. So at least that's what I was told. As we're waiting for the camera to come up, we're going to talk a little bit about our EVAC. We have an EVAC meeting that's going to occur following this. What we're going to have is we're going to have our a couple of our folks here from the OEM, for the emergency management, and working with our team to be able to discuss where we're looking at EVAC changes, keeping them safe, how we're going to do that. We will have a map out later, and that will be coordinated through Snow and King counties to be able to get those both out to you. So that'll be coming out later on today with it. Again, if there is no camera, I apologize for that, but now it'll just be a talking through as we go from here. So with Team 8, with our PIO, we're going to have Pam 60 tonight.
So good morning. Nice to put a couple of names with faces that I talked to yesterday. So something we just like to make really clear is, as we've been delegated, the incident commander has been delegated this fire. So we are the official information, and we will provide accurate and timely information. And what we're hoping is that you're going to take that with all of your different Facebook pages and social media and whatever, and share that and pass that on. So we do have a Facebook page up, the Bolt Creek Fire on Facebook, and we're coordinating with the Sky Valley Facebook, so those folks will be also posting our information. We have an Inti web page up, and we also are doing a full update in the morning, which you should be receiving in your inboxes hopefully anytime. We were a little bit late this morning, and that gets emailed out to interested parties, our cooperators, to the media. So if you're hearing anyone that was interested at this meeting, please let me know. I'll be here each day so that we can get you on that list, because as much information we get out to people, the more that they're going to know. We also then will be doing, we're gonna start doing something that's kind of a midday. We usually just do a morning and an evening time, but we're gonna try to get some information out midday so that for about 2 o'clock, so that folks know, well, it's like been 9 hours since we heard anything. What's going on out there? So we're trying to alleviate that concern. And then we'll do a recap in the evening of the day's events, and that will pretty much be through social media. And we also have now dedicated staff that is just for the media. We have a media phone that the media can call in. We're having some issues that the media is coming in at 4 in the morning and disturbing a lot of people that are trying to sleep. So we're going to be wrangling them a little bit, trying to get them under control to certain areas here. So we're working on that. So if you hear something about that. But again, when they're coming in at 4 and people are still sleeping, it's rather disruptive. And we also are starting, we started yesterday, but we're expanding it. It's called the trap line. Many of you probably already know what that is, but we're taking information to the places where the people go, the grocery stores, the post offices, community centers, gas stations. And we go to those each day and update with maps and information. So if you're out in the community, you see some place that we need to go, and after today you're not seeing us, let us know and we'll get some information. We're also putting up boards so that's very visible. It says fire information. So again, we're here. You all know the area, and that's why we're all trying to work with you. So please give us that information. We'll be happy to work with that. So with that, anything else, just give me a holler or let one of the liaisons know. They'll pass on the information to us. So
Thank you, Pam. So again, our video footage should be back up. We're going to go to the next portion of it. That kind of gives it from where we're at. We're going to go ahead and have agency administrator comments if they'd like them. I don't see Joe. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Thank you for that.
I'm Britt Davis, Fire Staff Officer from Mount Bakersfield Bowling, and just want to emphasize our support for this plan. I was actually just commenting with my deputy on the phone that it's really encouraging when you have an out-of-area team come in and kind of reaffirms our position on this all along. You know, rather than trying to get up there and expose firefighters to some really high-level risk, they're taking a good risk-based approach and waiting for fire to come down to us where we can take it on our own terms. So I like the plan, and I appreciate you guys' effort so far.
So with DNR, Jay.
Good morning again. I'm Jay Guthrie, Washington DNR Northwest Region Manager, and appreciate you all coming and joining in on this and chance to share your concerns. I'm mostly coming up here so you know who I am and can give me input. I am on the signatory for the delegation for this as supervisor for Britt. So again, there's a real good plan here. The Type 3 team that was here was managing it very well. We're very thankful to have the Type 2 team come in and take it over. And there's a lot of complexity. And just with the number of people that are interested right here, it kind of shows some of that complexity that the team needs to be able to deal with, and this team is well equipped for that. So thank you for being here, and thank you all for being here. And please speak up and give your input and desires of what you would like to see accomplished.
Thank you, Jay. Another person on our delegation, agency administrator.
Hello, Eric Andrews, Sky Valley Fire Chief. First of all, I want to thank the Western Washington Incident Management Team. Type 3 people in the Southeast came together and did a really great job for us. As you know, these situations come in, they escalate very rapidly. They grow to the local fire departments get there. We're just very overwhelmed. And we realize these things are going to become big, so we usually try to get these things going fast. But it takes time, and so the local agencies they're trying to do their best to see what they can control and get a bigger. So it's really great to have a kid. We're happy to see Team 8. So we're really thankful for all that. We have our concerns mainly is we're continuing with IA, which is called initial attack. We've signed a delegation authority over to originally Western Washington management team, now them. So they're going to take care of that fire, keep us on board, and making sure we know what's going on, and we have the support around that. So I really appreciate that, and look forward to looking at. We do have some concerns about setting up evacuation zones, maybe modifying those, for some transportation highway 2 for our people that are stuck up there, and getting the power back on them. So we look forward to working on those things.
So again, this is your guys' meeting, and what we do now is we're gonna open this up to some landowners, stakeholders. That could be any of the folks who are here. So I'll kind of go around really quick. If I miss somebody, I apologize. Washington State Patrol. Good. Excellent. And looking for anything from King County Sheriff's.
No, we're good.
Mike, no, nothing. Excellent. This is going great. Any of the other fire chiefs? How's that? Nothing in it? Excellent. It's coming together. Local PD. Everything's great. BNSF.
We can figure out afterwards point of contacts for that give our number to like you. I think we're kind of away from main action at this point.
Excellent. Excellent. Anybody from Puget Sound? Anybody here? I'll get to the folks on teams here in 1 sec. And then we have the OEMs. County? Okay. Snow County?
What did you say?
Oh, I was going to bring you up right last.
Oh,
So you- yeah,
well,
no, Dave, you're up right now, buddy.
It's Snow County, Dave Summers, Snow County Executive. I just want to thank everybody that's done this fire since day one, and the new team coming up. Welcome to Snohomish County. A number of years ago, I had the pleasure of serving on a couple of fire crews down in Umatilla National Forest Service. But I think more than anything, this is something that's going to be in our future, and the relationships we forge here are going to be really important because these forests burn, and we've got a lot of people out scattered around. So I think we really need to think about this. We're very fortunate with the weather and fire behavior, but we've got more of this in our future. So welcome, and Snohomish County stands ready to support you in any way we can.
Thank you, Dave. Now we're going to go to the folks who are online. If you have any comment, go ahead and we'll start with you folks.
This is Ron Morton with Washington State DOT. Do we anticipate needing to expand our closures on the state highway beyond what they are at this point in time?
That's a great question. I believe we have your information. I believe that Slater Turner is working with Washington DOT. So at this time, I can't answer that, but what we'll do is we'll have Slater reach out to you. If you could ensure on the chat line your phone number, please. Then we'll make sure we have that. Actually, it'll be Tim Keith. Tim Keith will be reaching out to you. So if you wouldn't mind putting that on there. Is there any other questions or comments?
Actually, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the anticipated length of the road? Do we have any additional updates? How is the manning of the road closures going to continue? And are people going to allow back into the area as they have been in past meetings?
Great question. So that came from Alicia with the King County Emergency Management. So the question ended up being about anticipated roadblocks, how long they're going to be, what we're looking at managing the people getting in and out. So that's a great segue into what we were going to. You're making this into a press conference, okay? So but we'll answer it the way it is. What we're looking at doing after this meeting, we're going to talk about the evacuation, what we're looking at for where we're at now, if we're going to be adjusting it, if it's going to stay the same, or it is. Once we get that information out, that'll build upon the next block of what we do with the highway and dealing with the access. I know there's folks right now that are in level 3 that have chosen not to come out of there. We'll be able to have a good, frank discussion about that following this meeting. I think then we'll be able to get the information out through our public information and through the appropriate sheriff's departments in the emergency management. So does that answer the question on that?
Well, it's sounding from your offices, it's throwing stuff down on the road.
Yes.
Which indicates the road's still going to be closed for a while.
I believe that we'll discuss that because what's going to happen is they do have a loader up there. We appreciate WashDOT doing that for us, moving that stuff off. We still need to have access for our firefighters, which is internal make access for the folks that are up in there. But we are evaluating the tunnel at this time. So it's one of those things that tunnel is a priority right now. It's one for us, one for the people that live there. So hopefully that answered that question on there. Is there any other questions from the people on Teams or comments?
Yeah, this is Norm Johnson, Mayor of Index. And my question is, we're at a level 3, and I was wondering if anytime soon we could drop to a level 2 with the current conditions.
Great question, Mayor. What we're doing after this meeting is just following this. We'll have the right folks here with our operations group and our IC. We're going to go ahead and discuss what the different levels are right now. We have a map that shows that, and then we also have a map that we'll be able to draw on and look and say, yes, it is going to stay the same, or no, we are going to adjust it. And once we have that, that'll be given to our PIO for sure. And it'll also be given to the PIOs with the sheriff and the OEM. And that information will get out as soon as we can get it out. I know that they'll be working on some shape files to be able to put those on.
Thank you, sir.
And Mayor,
Thank you, sir.
Oh, absolutely. And so, Mayor, what we'll also do is Slater Turner will go ahead and have him give you a call. So if you will put your name and number in the chat line, that will be helpful. I believe we already have it, but we'll make sure we do that. Any other comments from the folks on Teams? Okay, so with that, I believe that Paul put my name and number in there in the contacts. I'm just one of the liaisons. I will, if it doesn't kind of fall underneath what I'm doing, my responsibilities, I'll make sure I give it to either Tim or Slater. We will get back to you on that with it. So one of the last things is, I apologize about the time on this. This is taking about twice as long as we normally do. The 10 minutes of introductions that we did will not be tomorrow. I know your time is valuable for everybody here. We will have the same meeting tomorrow, 10 a.m. If there's somebody who needs to do this by remote, we've sent out emails to everybody. If you have not received an email about this, please stop with Paul here or Tim. We'll make sure that we get your email address on there, and you'll be able to do this by remote. So again, 10 a.m., same time, same place. And with that, Chief, we'll have Ed High come up and give the closing comments.
Thanks, Steve. What I was thinking, I did a rough count just with introductions and online. So there was about 67 folks represented, and I know there was others that were online with their peers, right? So this is the complex of part of fire. It's not the fire burning up on the hill. It's the relationships, partnerships, and getting the right information out timely for those questions, right? We're going to work hard to do that, right? And that's our job. And so what we ask of all of you is the information and ask the questions now or when they come up. Don't wait 2 days to ask us something. Don't surprise us, right? Ask us the question now, and so we can go search it out and get it fixed or get to the information, right? That's how we'll all be successful, is if you ask the questions, or if you have some information to share. So 3 liaison officers, there's a lot of folks that they have it broke up into a bunch of groups. So please reach out to them. So reach out to Kevin and I if you have questions too. We'll get this going a little bit more orderly in the next couple of days. This is the first one for us, right? So thanks for being patient with it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ed, for doing that. So that will be the end of the meeting. If you have anything on Teams that you would like to send in for a comment or a question, go ahead and put it in the chat. What we'll do is we're going to shut off the video feed here in 1 sec. And then what we're going to end up doing is we'll take those and be able to answer those at a time when we have them. So again, thank you. We'll plan on 10 o'clock tomorrow. What I do ask is there are certain folks that we need to have sit together after this for evacuation type planning. So again, thank you for your time. Have a good day.